want to talk a little bit about your relationships with two sportsmen in particular, because you talk about them at length in the book, and that's Steve Davis and Chris Eubank. You talk about how ultimately you love those two guys and you would have taken a bullet for them, you actually say in the book. What made those guys different and your relationship with them different from, because you worked with thousands of sportsmen and women?
Yeah. It is a relationship thing. I mean, you see, people sometimes get it wrong. Yes, money's really important, especially it's not nice not having enough, you know, and how much is enough. That's what, you know, that. Oh, yeah. But the relationship, you got first two different people, completely different people. Steve Davis and I mean, we were two council house kids with absolutely nothing. You know, he lived in South London, in Plumstead. I was in those days in Debden Industrial Estate. So we had a dream, and the dream was he wanted to be the best snooker player in the world, and I wanted to be really important and powerful and make a load of money. But I probably wasn't quite so sure how I was going to get there, but he knew how he was going to get there. But the two of us made a brilliant team because he concentrated on his job and I concentrated on mine. Mine was the promotion of him and snooker. His was winning matches. And we developed a relationship that went beyond client and, you know, a manager. We became like brothers, you know, and when you say take a bullet for them, not messing about, you know, if someone would have walked in front of Eubank, walk into the ring, me and Ronnie Davis, his trainer, would have stood in front of him. And that's not, you know, that's not just being bravado. That's the depth of the passion that is involved. And a lot of that stays with us and with Eddie today. I mean, I think Eddie would do the same for Anthony Joshua or Katie Taylor, you know, because they do become a bit of your family. You actually fall in love with these top sportsmen because you see how much they suffer. You see how hard they train. You see what they dedicate themselves to. You know, it's a pleasure to be on a journey with them. And you know, we always know we're still going to be there at the end of that journey. They may not. And that's, you know, when you've been through things like Michael Watson being injured and stuff like that, you look in the mirror and you say, did I do the right thing? Was I fair? Was I understand? You can always be better. You can always be a better person. But actually taking these people to your heart, and you do it in the knowledge that a lot of them will turn out to be disloyal son of bitches, you know? And yet still come back the next day for the next kid that has a dream. That's the mark of a proper promoter.
You talked about the Michael Watson tragedy there. You did everything you could at the time. No one can criticise your acts. But did you ever consider walking away from the sport as a whole just because of what occurred?
I've always taken the view that, I mean, obviously the Boxing Board of Control were held liable for the disaster of that night. But I've always taken the actual view that anyone involved in that night and anyone involved in boxing should share a level of responsibility, you know, because you do. I did question myself afterwards to think, should we even be allowing this brutal sport? You know, I mean, oh, you know, your podcast, they want to hear this, don't they? Fight fans want to hear this at the top.
They'll be switching off.
Yeah. There's no more boxing. That's it, Baz.
Yeah, no point now.
As a bloke, you analyse yourself when you see things like Michael. I mean, I saw Michael in hospital, and something that will live with me for the rest of my life. I'm grateful to say, still a close friend of mine, and we see each other now. So that makes me feel better, but not cleared. In the end, you come down to saying it's all about individual choice, and we live in a democracy, and people have the right. And you soften the blow by saying boxing changes people's lives, which it inevitably does. Sometimes for the worse, but often for the better. So from where I came from, in my own business career, I was very lucky to get the opportunity to improve myself. In boxers, it's a lot harder than that. They have to fight their way to the top, you know. I just had to study my way to the top, which is not quite as painful.